Excellent.
Perfect.
And with that, Darryl, you're welcome to begin.
Sorry, dude.
I'm sorry about all that.
It's absolutely fine. Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
Good
I do
morning.
definitely apologize for not being there. I am a little bit under the weather. I came down with a cold about 3 days ago and wanted to be mindful of everyone in the room. So I do apologize for not being there. And I will be there very shortly, joining Celine on the 24th. So I'll see you all soon. Bear with me as I sound nasally. But my 10-month-old who was sick got everyone else sick because we didn't care that he was sick. We still was kissing and hugging him. So I do apologize for that. So we're going to be brief, but what I really want to gather from everyone in the room is your perspective on a methodology that my nonprofit created. So I'm the founder of the Path and Agent of Change. It was a grad project that turned into a nonprofit organization through the National Society of Leadership and Success. Basically, what I've been doing for my entire master's degree is using psychological theories to try and create tangible solutions so that we can fix our problems in humanity. Why can't we get along? Why can we not relate? Why are there issues between us as people, as one human race? And so these theories gets turned into a solution, and that solution then gets implemented into a practice. So I got my master's in psychology. I'm an IBM certified design thinker, and I'm also a certified Scrum Master. And so all of those different concepts have been built into this nonprofit organization that has been doing the groundwork in helping us get along as a people, right? Even if we don't like each other, at least we can get along. So without further ado, I'm going to present to you Designing for Change. Everyone can see the screen?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So before we start, what are your assumptions? If I can get at least 3 assumptions of what Designing for Change might be.
I feel like I'd be cheating because I did my research on you, so I know a little bit more than most people in the room.
Well, I don't know anything, so giving people something to do, like that involves design, instead of doing something that's not yeah, I'm not sure. Instead of doing something bad, I guess you would say.
B?
I guess
Okay.
I guess how can you create a path in your life to how to achieve change in your life?
That's great. That's great. Anybody else? One more perspective.
It sounds like a design firm that's trying to make social change with design. To me, when I look at it, I'm like, that's what you see the picture. Yeah, that's
Excellent.
what I'm gonna say, but it's like graphic designer for change. Like,
Yeah, excellent. Excellent.
No problem. That's exactly what I see. Yeah, that's exactly what I saw. It's so cool.
So
No, that's what you do, right?
So oddly enough, everyone, my background is in information technology. And in 2019,
And I have to say something pretty good as part of your presentation, because you're already engaging us as part of your presentation. So thumbs up.
Yeah.
so I was the IT manager for the US Census Bureau. And in 2019, I actually battled depression significantly. I was really unfulfilled with my life, although I made great money. And my wife was happy that I was making great money. And I enjoyed my job from the perspective of this technicality, but I really desired human connection. I really desired to be connected with the people that I fixed their computers, that I fixed their tablets, that I went and did trainings for. I had a strong desire just to be more connected. And so I actually switched my pathway into psychology. So designing for change is actually, how do we take something that's technological, such as design thinking, which is a format of UX design, and change management, and allow people to understand that a product, a service, a solution is something that they actually need. So it actually bridges the gap between social entrepreneurship and any other type of entrepreneurship by intentionally designing a product, a solutions, or something that somebody knows that their need. So let's get into it real quick. So there are a few rules. Just ask that you listen actively, refrain from making any judgments, communicate to be understood, be aware of your emotional triggers, be mindful of the relationships that may have been established in the room, and then we're going to work together to find a common ground with designing for change. So what is necessary to change a person is to change their awareness of themselves. Now, Maslow is one of my favorite psychologists. A lot of his theories, excuse me, everyone, a lot of his theories I use within concepts within the path. What is necessary to change a person is to change their awareness of themselves. So what is the equation of change? Equation of change is D times V plus Fs needs to be greater than R equals C. D times V plus Fs needs to be greater than R that equals C. Now, some very, very smart people got into a room and they created this formula for change. And at some point, Dana Miller refined this formula, and we're going to understand today what this D times V plus Fs needs to be greater than R that leads to change, what that exactly means, okay? So the D is for dissatisfaction. Dissatisfaction. This should be the why statement, right? Most people change their minds due to dissatisfaction. For instance, if you have an Android and you get dissatisfied with an Android, you normally go to what?
Change it.
You
Get a
change
new
it.
one.
You go to Apple, right? Dissatisfaction literally leads to people to change their minds. So part of the formula is to discover a person's why. It is the motivating factor in change. Few of us dislike change. We don't like change unless dissatisfaction is present. But dissatisfaction by itself is not enough, right? If you're talking about from a social perspective, if you change people's mindsets about the status quo, is dissatisfaction. If we talk about a product and someone no longer likes a particular product, a car is dissatisfaction, right? Dissatisfaction is the first step. The second step is the vision. So you got your why, and then now you need your what. Most people do not change because they do not know what to change into. They don't know what to become. They don't know what to do next. They don't know what is next. So therefore, change is stopped without vision. So we have dissatisfaction. You're no longer satisfied with your Android. You're no longer satisfied with the way things are. Now you need a vision. What is next? What is the next solution? What is the next concept? What is the next idea that is presented? But believe it or not, dissatisfaction and vision is still not enough to lead a person to change. You need the first steps. So that's what that FS was. First steps. So dissatisfaction times vision plus the first steps need to be greater than the R. First steps. What concrete steps can you take towards a vision? Does anyone in the room know how to climb Mount Everest?
We need a base camp first.
Base camp. Okay. We got base camp set up.
$50,000, like.
$50,000. Okay. What's next?
Get in shape.
Get in shape.
The first step.
I'm gonna go with, you need a plan.
You need a plan, right? Most people have no idea. We just celebrated our New Year's, right? A lot of people came up with New Year's resolutions. They have a vision, right? And some of those visions may even be supported by a why. I want to get in shape because I have health issues. I want to go to the gym. But what are your first steps? You work a 9 to 5. You get home, you have to take care of kids. What are your first steps towards getting to the gym so that you can get this desired result? So you need the first steps just as much as you need the satisfaction, just as much as you need a vision. And then the last thing, which is the most important, is resistance. The R stands for resistance. For resistance, this is, oh, it's always been this way. This is how we've always done it. It's comfortability. Comfortability is the most dangerous thing when we talk about change, right? I'm comfortable with using the Android, despite the fact that I truly dislike the lack of good connectivity, despite the fact I don't like the swiping, despite the fact I don't like the camera on it. I'm so comfortable with this Android that I will not change over to Apple. So the reality is, the equation to change, the process to change is your why, your what, and your how must be greater than what you are comfortable with. Your why, your what, and your how must be greater than what you are comfortable with. So all of you that have users, that have customers, when you present to them your product, your service, your solution, understanding the why, the what, and the how, dissatisfaction, vision, and first steps should lead them to change, to choose you, to choose your product, to choose your service. And this is proven within psychology, the psychology hat on. So what is the how? Okay, we talked about why, as you saw before, right? We did why, we did the what, we did the why, which is design thinking. Now we're talking about the how. Here are the first steps to designing for change. Empathize with your audience. So now we're talking about design thinking. This is how design thinking and change management can actually lead to people being more interested, more engaged with you, your product, your service. Design thinking, empathize. Melinda Gates says, design dignifies. It exists not for itself, but for those whom it serves. It honors its users, who they are, where they are coming from, what they want to achieve. It proves that their preferences are important and that their voices have been heard. Great design starts with listening, and the product it produces is an expression of empathy. So let me make this plain to what the path does. As an African American, it's extremely hard to talk about wanting equality without people's biases, thinking that I fit with the status quo of what diversity, equity, inclusion is. What I want, because one, I was in the military, is the reality that everybody's voice is heard. We sit at a table just like this table you're at right now, and we all discuss our differences and allow those perspectives for us to design what diversity, equity, inclusion actually looks like, instead of assuming what it looks like. So this methodology is something that we've embraced with the path, to say we don't want to come up with just one solution and it be from one voice and one face and one race. We want a team of a bunch of individuals sitting at a table, having this discussion on the same issues that affect us all. This is how I know that this works. So my first question for anyone is, what is the difference between sympathy and empathy?
Empathy is when you can relate to that person because you've experienced something similar, whereas sympathy is when you just, it just has to do with feelings, right? Like you just kind of, you hear them, you see them, but you can't relate. Right.
Empathy is relating to someone, right? Mm-hmm. How many of us have a product, a service, a business that relates to the customer? How many of us, I know, and you know how I know, gentleman who just raised his hand, what's your name, sir?
Ron?
Huh?
Ron.
Ron? So I noticed that you're taking notes, right? And the most important part of empathy is the listening part, right? And so with you relate with your user, customer, because you have great listening skills, right? When you sympathize, you're going along for the ride, right? You may hear a problem, you may try to provide a solution, a product, a service, but you haven't truly listened to truly know, is this what they need, right? I sat at a conference talking to 21,000 nonprofit organizations. And as I'm sitting here talking to them, one thing that I wanted to express is, why is there 21,000 nonprofits represented in this room right now? Why is there a continuation of the same problems, the same issues for centuries now? Because we are not as effective as we need to be, because we provide a solution from sympathy rather than providing a solution through relatedness.
Mm.
Even if you have never experienced homelessness, you're one paycheck away from it.
Mm.
You're one bad debt away from it, right? We can understand the realities and the harshness of what someone else is experiencing and then actually provide them a solution even based on that. And if we cannot, all we need to do is just listen. That is the first step to designing for change, is to listen. Be dissatisfied with thinking and assuming that we know what people need. Your vision is to go and use design thinking to begin to listen to people. And here's the first step, empathizing through listen. So a picture speaks 1,000 assumptions. I want to take a quick moment. What does this picture right here? And I would love for everyone just to share around the table what this picture means to them. What do they think is happening in this picture?
That.
He's tired.
Down a break from work.
Pulled an all-nighter.
He's meditating.
Okay.
The food made his stomach upset.
What?
The food made his stomach upset. Just because you
Okay.
look at structure. I just, I see the bag with the logo on it. I figured. I don't know.
Any other assumptions?
It's like he's inundated with the daily grind. He's exhausted.
I'm gonna go with relatively financially successful.
Relatively financially successful.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it may be that the bag with the logo made his stomach sick, or it may be the fact that he's homeless.
Mm.
And this is the only pair of clothes that he has, because he went to a drive and they just so happened to have this nice outfit there. And he went to go get a job, assuming that this could help change the situation, but he didn't get it because he didn't have a home address. So he's laying there back on the same bench that he goes to every day. Right?
Yeah, somebody just dropped off some food for him.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
I put the
that's
logo
okay.
on there. I put the logo on there because that's my nonprofit, right? And a lot of times nonprofits will see a homeless person, come bring them food and walk away. Did you fix that person's problem? Did you help
No.
that person? You fed them
I've
for the
never
day.
done it.
You fed them for the day. And that's great that you fed them for the day, but their problems are much more deeper than placing nasty food, as a gentleman said over there, next to them and saying, this will fix your problem. This will fix your life. Right? We make assumptions based off what we see. Why don't we try this? We can empathize by observation. Immerse yourself in the real world. Get to know your population. Understand context. Uncover needs. And most importantly, listen for feedback. Listen for feedback. When talking to particular people, what can we ask this man? What can we ask this person? What's a question we can ask them?
What did you used to do before you became a homeless person?
Right?
Or what brought you to this situation in life?
What happened?
What happened?
Do you have a family? Where's your family?
Right? Any other
I'm gonna ask
questions?
I would ask what you need, but I feel like oftentimes people don't know what they need. Or they think they need one thing, but it's really something else.
Right.
How about this question? How are you doing today?
It's a good place to start.
How are you doing today? Rids any assumption, because he could be, like the gentleman said, on the lunch break, could be very wealthy and just likes to lay on this bench, or it could be completely homeless, struggling. How are you doing today? Hey, I'm actually not doing too well right now. I just got these clothes from a clothing drive, went to go freaking get a job, and they denied because I didn't have an address. How are you doing today? The most important thing that we should start to do, we're dealing with customers, users, and I know that this works just beyond the social atmosphere, because design thinking actually is a concept in IT to find out what users like when we talk about Apple products and Samsung products. So I know that this works in product management just as it does with change management. What does a person say? What does a person think? What does a person feel? And what does a person do? This is called an empathy map, and it's very collaborative. You can pull your whole team together and use this same empathy map when you're talking about processes and procedures or new product management or new product designs. What we need to know what the person says, what they think, how they feel, and what do they do. First, what do they say, think, and feel and do with our current product, with our current service, with our current solution? From that, what do they say, think, feel, or will they do with our new product, service, product, solution? So the why, we need to remain socially relevant, you all. We must design our programs, products, solutions that they are centered on the person and not so much the problem. That's how we remain socially relevant. That's how we beat others in the industry if competition is your thing. That's how nonprofits become more effective, is when they center their nonprofit organizations on the person instead of the solution. We come with so many assumptions, and we come with many biases about people when we focus on the end rather than the beginning, which is the person. So I thank y'all so much for listening. I do apologize for the nasalness. I don't sound like this all the time. And if you'd like to reach out to me, here's my contact information. But thank you so much for listening.
Darryl. So as a community, we are supposed to ask you what it is that we can do for you. So if you have an answer to that question, then yeah, actually, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So if you can answer that question, let us know what it is that we can do for you, and then we can open up for questions and answers.
Yeah, so I did notice a tremendous amount of disinterest, right? So I would like to ask the question, what disinterests you about this presentation the most?
So I will say that I wanted to ask you that question first, right? But you're trying to shift it around. I'm gonna come back at you and also say that, well, I'm gonna say a couple things. One, I'm really glad that you are plugged into the 1 Million Cups community as a whole. I don't know if you're aware, but there are over 130 chapters across the country, and you can choose to present at any one of them. I know you happen to be in Douglasville, so you're close to us, but you can do Zoom presentations anywhere in the country. The 1 Million Cups format, however, is that you only have 6 minutes to present, and then it's followed by 20 minutes of Q&A. I was so intrigued by your presentation and by you and the way you delivered it. Your slides were well designed. The message was very clear, that I wasn't about to raise a flag and stop you because I was engaged. I enjoyed it. Like we said earlier, you got us involved early. It made it fun for us. But after all of that presentation that I truly did enjoy, I'm still left wondering what it is that your nonprofit actually does to facilitate all the things that you just made us aware of, right? Now, I read your website. I know a little bit more about what you're trying to do, but I don't think that came across in the presentation unless I missed something. So,
More of a psychology program, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is good. Like, yeah, it's more like class, not necessarily right from a 1 million couple.
Now we need
It's very different than what we're used to.
Now we need to go to small group practical exercises so we can figure out how to actually do it. That's how I do it.
It was an engaging lecture.
And I appreciate it. So the reality is, that methodology gets turned into a solution. I have a team of interns from a bunch of colleges, actually national. And what we do is we take different theories. I'm gonna put my camera up real quick. And we take different theories and we study those theories and create white pages from them. I'm actually a program chair for the APA, which is American Psychology Association Division 48P Psychology. And we take these solutions, we create them we take these theories and we turn them into programming. Then we take those programming and we offer it to any person and say, here is programming that you can use to be more effective at no cost. If it works for you, it works for you. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So designing for change is actually something that I can come to you and teach and help you to apply it even outside of the social aspect, even in product management. We can still teach you how to empathize with people, how to connect. Excuse me, y'all. Teach you how to connect with people and relate to the user, the customer, and as well as people that participate with your nonprofit. Okay.
So are you saying that you guys are kind of like a consulting firm that provides frameworks for organizations for implementing the thing that you're saying?
Correct.
That's what I got.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We believe that it's so important that we help each other to resolve our problems. That's in a way, I hate to use the word consulting because a lot of it is actually leading you to design this yourself, but coaching and mentoring you into that discovery, right? We do not believe that we have a solution because that's just that's the problem. Everyone says they have the solution when the reality is there is uniqueness in each person at this table that just a little altering can lead you to a solution that works directly for you. And that's what we help with. It isn't, right? Because we got, like the Holy Bible. Everyone says that this is the way, and everybody says the Quran is the way. And that's the problem, is that everyone has their way, and that's what separates us the most, right? And so we try and lead people into this open thought realm of where we are designing these different things, particularly with diversity, equity, inclusion, right? We did work with the Ivy Tech in Indiana. We came and talked to their students about cross-culturalism in the classroom. And how do we take different perspectives, student perspectives, such as in marketing, and how do you market to a Black person as you market to a white person, as you market to a Hispanic, as you market to an Asian? Those are different races with different styles in which they are intrigued by. But if you only learn one way to do a thing, you'll make everyone succumb to that one way. And so those are the type of coaching and mentoring that we did at Ivy Tech, in which they've changed the way they did their marketing class. So that, in that way, I guess it is consulting, but it really is. We're just trying to create change, which is what our name of our nonprofit is: the path, an agent of change.
I love it.
Yeah.
I recently was exposed to the idea that most people don't really know how to collaborate very well, and the idea we're very me first, my thoughts, and our culture rewards that kind of thing. So it sounds like you're offering collaboration coaching, like you're helping teams come together in ways that are novel and new, which creates the value. You're not saying we're creating the value. You're saying we're helping you to facilitate this collaboration that creates the value.
That's correct.
So that's just the way that I'm understanding it, because the way that you're presenting it, it's very conceptual. So like the thing that I would need from your presentation in order to get more out of it is business cases or like just cases. If you just give me a case, you guys come in, they were doing this, we help them, you know, do this coaching collaboration thing, and then this. That gives me the structure to understand a little bit better.
Big
Yeah,
that make sense?
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we sat down with a nonprofit who had 25 employees and a board of 15. And the CEO called me in to do a cultural assessment of their nonprofit organization because they feed the homeless. So what I conducted for them with the cultural assessment was to get the CEO to actually listen more than tell the company what the culture is. And as everyone around the table started talking about pictures, just like the pictures I showed you, I had the CEO listen to people's perspective about the same picture I showed you all and write down what the people were saying. And as they were writing down what the people were saying, they started to gather what the actual culture is of their organization. That it's a bunch of sympathists. They all sympathize with the homeless, but none of them empathize, right? But their vision statement was to empathize with the homeless, to help find a resolve to end homelessness. But are you actually meeting the mark when your actual staff, the people that work for you, do not match the culture in which you're presenting? And so that was one way, actually using cognitive dissonance to prove that what your company is saying is not aligning with the actions of the people. They sympathize with these people. They come, they drop a bag off and say, here you go. I did my goodwill for today. But you as the CEO want to fix a problem. And so that's a perfect case study. And what she did, she didn't fire anyone. What she did was she started taking them more through her story. And she created this chart that we do called Story of Self. And it's an opportunity for CEOs to be more connected without being too intimate with your personal life. And basically, she just explained her story of how she came from homelessness and why this nonprofit is so important to her. And as she began to do that, multiple people in her staff started to relate to the CEO's story of homelessness. And then it started to organically change the culture. So that's a perfect example of how this practice works, and just really using peer sociability to change the way we look at each other as coworkers, as employees, and then how we look at our users and customers and said. So did that help at all?
Yeah, I definitely got a
Yeah,
better
it did to
understanding
me.
of what
Okay.
you do now. But yeah, for designing with change, that's the name, right? Designing with change.
Correct.
Just if I just saw that on a business card, I would not have any idea what it was about or what it was doing. So maybe I would suggest maybe have a short tagline or something that just gives people an idea, like, oh, my company's having whatever these type of issues. This might be a company I contact, because I would have thought you were a design firm or something like that until you explained it and then re-explained it. So I mean, I would just tagline might be good just to let people know what it is.
And I do need that help, y'all. As far as like branding and understanding how to, just like you said, suggestions like that. I just love the work, y'all. I really do love people. Y'all don't even know, I don't know any of you, I'm not in the room, but I love everyone in that room, because the reality is that's what brings us together. That's what makes us a better place. That's what leads to the change that we need. So I get caught up on the work. Me and my interns, we be so deep in these theories and creating these solutions that the branding and the marketing part of I don't even charge for what I do, right? It's just, I just really want us to get better as a people. So I appreciate any suggestions when it comes to marketing or branding, or how this can be present. My nose is messing me up. Presented better to people.
Well, Darryl, I know Douglasville is probably 45 minutes from here, but we would love to have you. Every week we have a different presenter talking about something that is generally very different from the week before. Next week
Yes.
will be another example of that. Our presenter sitting in the back of the room, and what he's doing is completely different, but the format. And just your opportunity to contribute, right? You're an awesome person, and I really look forward to meeting you in person. I hope it's soon. And as far as the branding thing goes, I mean, you basically are asking for help with something that I can offer help in, so we should definitely reconnect. I have your email through the 1 Million Cups website, but your information, did anybody else want his information? Get it already? That slide went away kind of quick.
Yeah, I
can
got a
share it.
screenshot of it.
Okay, oh, good.
Yeah, just from a 1 million cost perspective.
Yeah.
Most people do their slides.
If they're virtual like this, not necessarily. So for what it's worth, oh, thanks, Darryl. For what it's worth, the process as it should go is that when someone applies for 1 Million Cups and we decide to approve them, there should be a phase of coaching that occurs before they actually get to present. So not only should they be present, whether it's virtual or in person, they should be present before they present. They also should get coaching. Jeff had said that he would offer that, but we've never actually used it.
My only question is, you have a, you use the Facebook group. You should just load up that, you can just add files from file to file.
So it's
I
there.
would love for you to go back. Send an email,
Yeah,
2022, ask them to send them. And make a group.
Their
1 million
presentation.
cups.
Yeah.
Put every single file.
just so people can go back.
Just
and
so people can go back, yeah. Create your database right through the Facebook group and add to the page.
Yeah.
I mean, it's. I guess supposedly you could do it through a Google Drive or cloud or anything. I'm just saying things
Right,
like
right.
you're on there anyway.
Right, I know they're.
But like, I can just off the top of my head, right, the live on the yacht guy.
Yeah.
Just on the top
Yeah.
of my head, I've been wrong. And I'm gonna go back and read that first, you know what I'm saying? And I'm looking at this, like, I don't wanna have to take a picture of that for me. I would love a place where I can go and read that.
I'm not opposed to that idea at all, but we would have to ask them for.
Yeah, but it's not-
It's not required. The
No,
only time I.
Yeah. just a
however,
suggestion, because
This is always live on
Yeah.
Facebook, so you could always go back into the library. And Casey went back and spent a ton of time renaming all of them throughout history.
those are the recordings, right? I mean, me,
But I'm just
how I,
saying, it's on, like, you can see the slides. 'cause that-
no, I know how I, yeah, like me just,
You'd rather have it, yeah.
yeah, I'm a reader. I would never watch a video.
Right.
Never.
Yeah.
I will never rewatch any video, I
Right.
guarantee it. If I had a PDF in front of me, the
Yeah.
slides, I would. Print them
No,
down.
that's fair.
I'm a reader.
That's fair. Recently, someone asked me, like, who's the person that presented this? And I actually went onto Facebook,
Mhm.
our page videos, and I looked back because you
Yeah.
renamed them, and I was like, that's the one.
No, I think that's marvelous for video viewers.
So, but I'm just saying, for contact info, I actually fast forwarded through the video.
And then it's not the content.
And then wrote it down.
I just love a set of files in there like
Yeah.
that.
I get what you mean.
It's just because you asked if anybody else wanted his contact. Well, if that was sitting in a file somewhere, everybody had.
On a to piggyback that thought, at the last startup day, it's also recommended then that we create a Facebook group for
Yeah.
everybody to be able to exchange information. So I went and created it. Sadly, I couldn't think of any people who were regulars enough to be like, hey, this is the group. So now at the next one, which is next Tuesday, we're having, like, I'll announce it and get everybody to go in and join it. So we'll actually be creating a real community.
You have a group?
It's just created like a month ago.
Oh,
There's
really?
like 2 people.
Did you invite me?
Me and Kay. No, you've never even been to Startup Day.
Oh, start. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah. But we could, we could do that for this as well. I'm just saying that there is a group to create more of an online
Yeah.
sense of community, not just people who show up in
100%.
person. There's a lot of people, maybe less so with 1 Million Cups, with Startup Day, and like they come and I never see them again. And there's people who I desperately wanted to connect with, who I didn't get their information. Or to the conversation earlier about having that QR code, they took my info or I took
Yeah.
theirs, but I have to go
Yeah, right,
through
yeah.
like 15,000 contacts to figure out who that person was.
No, I think this 1 million cups can turn into a good group on Facebook, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you use all the
2023,
tools.
let's create that. Awesome. Well, we are past 10 o'clock, so